In the thick shroud of impenetrable darkness that reigns in the labyrinthine cellars, a veritable drama unfolds, woven from pain and glimmers of hope, a tale capable of touching the most secret corners of your soul. It tells of creatures whose existence often goes unnoticed, but whose devotion and love know no bounds. He was named Tom, but that name is buried somewhere in the distant past. Like an echo of a happy life he held a faint hope of realizing during long winter evenings. In those hours when the piercing icy wind howled through the tiny basement window, the path to the coveted bowl of sustenance, which a compassionate woman named Galina Ivanovna placed with truly maternal care, turned into a real test of endurance. Once upon a time, long ago, Tom lived in the home of an elderly couple, Vasily Ivanovich and Maria Nikolaevna. They took him in as a tiny kitten, warmed him with their affection, surrounded him with constant care, and showered him with boundless love. But this idyllic time for Tom tragically ended after only 4 years. The couple passed away, one after the other. The elderly pair had no direct heirs, and, as often happens when the time comes to claim legal rights of inheritance, distant relatives emerged from nowhere, relatives whose existence Vasily Ivanovich and Maria Nikolaevna seemed to have long forgotten themselves. Not one of them had ever graced the old people with a visit during their lifetime. A ruthless division of property began, with someone greedily eyeing Maria Nikolaevna's antique jewelry, elegant brooches, rings, and earrings. Someone else turned to the courts, defending their rights to the apartment. And so, Tom found himself thrown out onto the street, at the mercy of fate. 2 whole years passed. During this time, he managed to adapt to the harsh realities of street life, to the cold basement, to the constant danger lurking around every corner. It seemed to him that in those 24 months he had gone through all the circles of hell. But, fortunately, his heart retained its kindness and tenderness, which helped him not only to stay alive, but also to radically transform his destiny, and the lives of others along the way. One day, in the dead of autumn, while passing by overflowing garbage containers, Tom unexpectedly caught a muffled noise coming from a small cardboard box. Cautiously sniffing it, the cat instantly bristled, immediately realizing what had happened. Without losing a single second, he frantically began tearing apart the cardboard with his strong paws, which, fortunately, proved to be quite flimsy and quickly gave way under his onslaught. The box fell apart, and 3 tiny kittens showered down on Tom like small, fluffy peas. "Mommy, Mommy, we were so scared, where have you been?" the little ones squeaked in unison, nuzzling against Tom's legs and belly, trying to wrap their tiny paws around him. "What mommy? And besides, I'm not a mommy, I'm a cat," Tom said in surprise, proudly raising his tail and straightening his back. "But where is our mommy?" the little ones cried plaintively. Frightened, the kittens, afraid to be separated from each other, huddled close together, backs pressed together, and sat shivering on the cold grass, mewing pitifully. All right, we'll figure something out, don't be afraid, I'll go somewhere now," Tom reassured them. And he slowly walked along the path leading to the familiar basement window. "Mommy, Mommy, oh, I mean, not Mommy, don't leave us, we're scared," the little ones whimpered and unsteadily toddled after the cat. Tom had no choice but to call the kittens after him. "Come on, here we are, now I'll go down to the floor, and you jump down, don't be afraid, I'll catch you," Tom commanded the frightened kittens. And in just a few minutes, the entire company was in the basement. "Our ranks have been replenished, meet them, I found them in a box, apparently someone wanted them to die, but not so, now they will live with us," Tom announced, strutting importantly in front of the kittens and glancing at the other inhabitants of the basement. "Oh, they are so cute, let them come to me, they will have much more fun with my kittens," a young cat said affectionately. Tom gently nudged the little ones in her direction, and 2 of them, without hesitation, went to her, snuggled up, and began to purr, while the third, after hesitating for a moment, returned to Tom and, sitting down next to him, looked him straight in the eye. "I want to live with you, you're not my mommy, but you are very kind." So Tom unexpectedly became a father to a tiny kitten. He was still too young to start learning, so the cat simply took care of him, made sure that his son always had food, that he slept on the soft grass that Tom had prepared back in the fall. Now, the little one was curled up in a ball on this hay, gently hugging his adopted father. The cold weather crept in unnoticed. One day, Tom decided to take his little one for a walk, but suddenly two huge dogs ran into the yard. Spotting the kitten, they immediately rushed towards him. Tom desperately fought with the dogs, but, unfortunately, one of them managed to bite the little one. "Gina, let's go for a walk," Sergei happily proclaimed, taking the leash in his hands. "Today we will go to the far park, where you can run around on the dog playground to your heart's content." Gina was a young and energetic dog who loved long walks. After them, she always returned home tired, but immensely happy. For more than an hour, she enthusiastically dashed around the simulators, performing a wide variety of exercises, for which Sergei generously rewarded her with tasty pieces of cheese. It was getting dark, and it was time to go home. However, not even 2 houses away from their own, they suddenly stopped because a cat was blocking their way. Gina, who had been taught since childhood not to chase cats, sat quietly and watched Tom approaching, while Sergei carefully watched what was happening. The cat approached them, affectionately rubbed against his legs, and began to purr something quietly. The cat's behavior seemed very strange to Sergei. Both, the cat and the man, looked attentively at each other. Then Tom took a few steps forward, but, having gone only a little way, stopped, looked back at Sergei, purred again, went forward again, and stopped again. "So he's calling us. How could I not understand right away?" Sergei exclaimed, slapping himself on the forehead. "Yes, yes, lead us, show us what happened." Not far from the basement window, next to thick rose bushes, lay a small kitten, moaning pitifully. Tom sat down next to him and looked at the little one, then looked at Gina, and then at Sergei. At that moment, it seemed to the man that there were real tears glistening in the cat's eyes. "So that's it, this is your kitten, and something bad happened to him?" Sergei carefully picked up the kitten. "Will you come with us? I can't help him here." Tom looked at the man, and he was surprised again. It seemed to him that the clever cat nodded in agreement. At home, Sergei carefully examined the little one. It was obvious that he had been bitten by dogs, but there were no deep wounds, fortunately. Nevertheless, the man immediately grabbed the phone. "Anna, sorry to call so late, but could you help me?" Sergei's first thought was to turn to his ex-wife, who worked as a veterinarian. That was a bad idea. He sighed and looked guiltily at Gina, who was lying next to him. Anna didn't even want to talk to him. "Well, then we'll try to do it differently. Recently, a new veterinary clinic opened near their house. 2 girls worked there. Sergei had met one of them, a very sweet girl, just recently when he brought Gina in for a vaccination. She gave him the clinic's business card, which had her personal phone number on it. She said then, "Just in case, I'll leave you my number. If the dog gets worse, call me immediately." And now, just an hour later, the little sufferer was already in the caring hands of Mila. She immediately rushed over with the necessary instruments and medicines. Tom sat next to him all this time and did not take his eyes off his adopted son. He didn't notice anything around him, didn't hear Sergei calling him to the kitchen, didn't see that Gina had come and lay down next to him. He only came to his senses when Mila took out her instruments. The cat hissed and arched his back. "Don't be afraid, I want to help," Mila said calmly to Tom, and he, as if feeling her sincerity, suddenly believed her and retreated, lay down on the floor, and only sighed quietly, hearing the groans of his little one. "Well, now we just have to wait," Mila said, putting a special blanket on the kitten. "Fortunately, the wounds are not deep. I'll leave you the medicine, and tomorrow evening I'll come and see how he's doing." For now, it's best to move the little one as little as possible. It's even better to feed him through a pipette, and be sure to keep him warm. Waking up in the morning, Sergei came out of the bedroom and froze, struck by the touching picture. The kitten was lying on a diaper, his breathing was much smoother than the day before, the cat was wrapped around him, and Gina was lying around them both. During a walk with Gina, they went to the yard where the cat had led them yesterday, and, seeing an elderly woman coming out of the entrance, Sergei decided to ask her about this cat, because elderly people usually know a lot. In the evening, when Mila came to visit the kitten, Sergei told her Tom's sad story, and she was amazed to learn that the kitten was not actually his son. Tom and Rizik, as Sergei called him, stayed to live with him, which Gina is unspeakably happy about, as she has become very attached to the cat family. Mila and Sergei started meeting often, and their furry friends are real purring troublemakers. They have become very fond of the girl and, when she comes to visit, bring her slippers, or her favorite toy, and sometimes even a tasty bone. Friends, if you like this story, please share your opinion in the comments and subscribe to our channel. Until next time.